We've been speaking today about the visit by Boris Johnson to Kiev and his pledge to send more arms to Ukraine in his support for President Zelenskyy. But how does that resonate with those who are on the ground? I'm delighted now to be joined by my final guest, Lesia Vasylenko, who is a Ukrainian MP and a lawyer. We tried to do this, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, but unfortunately the technology defeated us. It will not defeat us this time, and I'm thrilled to see you there in what I know are very difficult times. How did you personally judge the unexpected arrival of Boris Johnson walking through the streets of Kiev and pledging that extra armament? What was your personal reaction to that, Lesia?
Yeah, it's great to be on the show today. I know that we tried and failed a couple of weeks ago. That is true because the connection is not always stable in Ukraine. But again, coming back to the visit of the Prime Minister of the UK to Kyiv, it was a really good sign of support. I mean, Britain supports us throughout this war, not just for the 46 days of the escalation, but from day one, which started on the 20th February 2014. And yesterday, to have the Prime Minister, I'm sorry, I'm just outside and there's some lively action here. So to have the Prime Minister in the streets of Kyiv and walking alongside President Zelenskyy and showing this support to the Ukrainians, that Britain is there physically, shoulder to shoulder, two leaders walking in the capital. That was just an amazing sign of support, and we are extremely grateful for that. As grateful as we are for the weapons that the UK has been sending to Ukraine for our soldiers to be fighting off Russian aggression for Ukraine and for the rest of Europe and for the rest of the world.
Are there other countries that you feel, because President Zelenskyy has hinted at it without, as it were, naming names, that could do more? Because all that we are reading here in the UK is that the aggression around Kyiv and in the north may have abated slightly, but only because the Russians are moving their main forces down to Donbass and to the southeast, and that the next vicious phase of this war will unfold very shortly. Could others be doing more to help?
You know, it would be great to see the President of the United States, Joe Biden, in the same way in Kiev. Emmanuel Macron, of course, if he's re-elected, it would be great to see him as well. I mean, all the world leaders, if they come and stand shoulder to shoulder with President Zelenskyy, not afraid of the Russian missiles and of the Russian attacks, they will already be sending a message, not just to Putin, but also to the Russian soldiers and to all the Russian army and the Russian troops, that that army does not inflict fear and terror any longer, that the world is united against the aggressor, and that Russia is the aggressor, and the whole world acknowledges it and will take action. I think it's a first step before we see even more robust action on the ground in Ukraine, with other armies standing shoulder to shoulder in covering for evacuation corridors, covering for the farmers who are trying to sow the seeds and to prevent a global food crisis, and covering all the hazardous sites in Ukraine, which include nuclear power plants. I think that in this united action for world peace and also for stability in the world, we will be victorious against this aggression, which must stop now, because otherwise this aggression will only progress, and inaction and sort of just standing by on the sidelines will cause Putin to go ahead more with his aggressive actions, not just in Ukraine, but across the whole of Europe.
You talk about that aggression and the violence unfolding. People who are watching our conversation on television, as opposed to those listening on radio, will see that along the bottom it says war in Ukraine, massacres in Bucha and Irpin condemned as war crimes. We've been spending a lot of time talking about war crimes on the programme with two veterans of the Bosnia conflict back in the 90s. And I said in my introduction, you're a lawyer. How confident are you that the international community is doing enough to gather evidence and prepare the case against the war criminals, be it Putin, his generals, or his commanders on the ground in Ukraine?
We have over 40 countries who have also started investigations into Russia's war crimes, and that's already a good sign that that case will be moving forward. Putin and also all the Russian soldiers, they will have the same fate as all of those criminals tried at Nuremberg after World War II. The Bosnian experience, which you have talked about, is pretty much the same. I mean, today Ukrainians have the most support and understanding from the Balkan states, who have lived through the same kind of atrocities, the same massacres, and essentially a genocide, because what we are witnessing now is a genocide of the Ukrainian people, and the Ukrainian government has done just that. We have submitted a case to the International Court of Justice claiming that Russia is committing an act of genocide, and the International Court of Justice has accepted that case and is going to be reviewing all the evidence that we are submitting and that our partners are helping to gather, and the gathering of information shall continue until the aggression of Russia continues. And I'm pretty sure that already the evidence there in place is enough to show that this crime against Ukraine is a crime against Ukrainians, that it's a crime against the Ukrainian nation, and therefore that it is genocide. And every single person responsible for committing acts of genocide will be tried and will be brought to justice.
Absolutely fascinating, and people who were listening to my other two guests will understand the important echo in what you just said, both as a member of Parliament but also as a lawyer. I said in the introduction, Lesia, that you're actually an opposition member of Parliament. Given everything else that you are facing right now in Ukraine, to what extent can ordinary politics function, or have you put away those differences for the time being until this current crisis is hopefully brought to a fruitful conclusion for the people of Ukraine?
Absolutely. It's the 46th day of war, and Parliament, government, presidential administration, all alike, we stand united for Ukraine. We stand with the people of Ukraine, of course, and with the army of Ukraine. We work on a united front in the international arena. This is all necessary for our country to survive and for Ukraine to remain independent. All the squabbles and quarrels, they will be left for after the victory, as we say in Ukraine, the victory of Ukraine, of course.
Well, I wish you well, and I'm so pleased that we were finally able to do it, and I hope you'll do us the great honour of keeping in touch. And I hope whatever it was that was going on to your left was just a bit of a wind or something battering around, and nothing worse than that. But Lesia, for now, thank you very, very much indeed for your time this Sunday afternoon. We wish you well and safety, and keep in touch. You'll be welcome on this programme anytime. I'm enormously grateful. Thank you very, very much indeed.